When 12-year-old Lyndal was sexually abused by her boarding master Kevin Guy at Toowoomba Prep School in 1990, the school did nothing. Out of sheer desperation, Lyndal's mum turned to Brisbane Anglican Archbishop Peter Hollingworth, who was later to become Australia's Governor-General. Her many calls went unanswered, but he did eventually write, but offered no help.
He should have supported us. He should have said, look, what can we do for you? There should have been more care, more empathy. The sympathy should have been there, but never was. And he never gave that.
Lyndal's psychologist, Joy Connolly, did manage to get through to Peter Hollingworth, but she couldn't believe the response.
He said, I'm tired, I'm stressed, I need a holiday, and anyway, there's nothing I can do.
How did you react to that?
Well, I'd been brought up in a church family to think that church leaders were good and honest people. I could not believe it. I was devastated then. And where do I go from here?
But what were you expecting from him, and what do you think he should have done?
I was expecting, in my absolute naivety, to think that he would tell the school to do it properly and at least apologise to the girls.
You've never even told your parents the whole story. I mean, how can you tell a whole courtroom?
Lyndal just couldn't escape the memories. So she did what few others have done. At just 19, with lawyer Stephen Roach's help, she made the brave decision to sue the school and the church in a civil court action. Why did you do that?
I needed justice, and I wanted the school to know that they had wronged me and others, and that they had to be held accountable.
Because you felt that they didn't believe you?
Didn't believe me, didn't want to know. And I thought, well, fuck yeah. Yeah.
If we go to trial, this becomes public, very public. Every sordid detail of what happened to you in that school will be dragged through the papers.
Do you want to do it or not?
I saw this inner strength in Lyndal that you see in some clients, but not all.
And was that enough to tell you that this is a young girl who can do this?
I thought that she could do this.
This place represents what to you?
Closure in some sort of ways.
It took nearly 4 years, but in late 2001, the trial began in Toowoomba's Supreme Court. Lyndal spent 2.5 days in the witness box. It would be the first and only time she's given the intimate details of her abuse. You'd never actually said those words to anyone before?
No.
How terrible was that?
It was like being abused all over again.
Have you been able to put those words away now?
Yeah.
And where do you put them? Where do they go?
In a welded box.
Welded tight.
In a welded box, yeah.
Four weeks after the case began, the jury returned a verdict in Lyndal's favour. They awarded her damages of more than $800,000.
She has had to live for more than 10 years with psychological scars of this abuse. No amount of money will make those scars go away.
It's bittersweet because you can't high-five and say we've won, because all that's happened is that what you've known to have occurred, somebody else has said, yep, yeah, it has.
Make sure you stay on in your job.
Lyndal's win would be Peter Hollingworth's loss, who was now Australia's Governor-General. He faced intense media scrutiny over his apparent lack of action.
Dr. Hollingworth, do you have anything you want to say about the case in the Toowoomba Preparatory School?
Not today, thank you.
And his attempts to explain himself only added to the criticism.
I think I'd say that I wasn't up to it.
In 2003, 18 months after the court case and after the church's own internal investigation, the Australian Governor-General resigned.
Dr. Hollingworth described allegations against him as unwarranted and misplaced.
Do you look at him as somebody who could have really made a huge difference?
Yeah, I do. He had the power to do that, but he never acted on that power. He turned his back on us, essentially. That's what he did.
Lyndal's court case had a significant impact on the school, the church and the town. Stephen Roach thought the chapter had finally closed. But 10 years on, after the school was found to have known of the abuse and did nothing, he was hit with this bombshell.
So I'm sitting in my office in 2011 and another Lyndal walks into my office. With her parents, I've been abused at Toowoomba Prep by a teacher. And I thought, after all that's happened, all I could think of is nothing's changed. So you almost give up and you think, I've just made no scrap of difference. And that's where I got the idea for the movie.
Stephen Roach is executive producer of his film Don't Tell, and he made sure the first person to see it was Lyndal.
I cried. What really gets me every time is the very last scene, where there's big me, little me, sitting there, and put her arm around and...
So that sort of sums
Sorry.
up. No, I understand.
Yeah.
It kind of sums up how your life was.
Lyndal is now nearly 40. She's the mother of a 7-year-old daughter, and she's flourishing in her new career in teaching. But she's still angry at those who failed to protect her, something she can never forget.
Oh yeah, it's still there. And I don't think it'll ever go away, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing either. That's always what's kept me going, is that anger, that fire in me. It's also given me a passion for life, believe it or not.